So what can I factor? If I have 3x minus 3x squared, what can I factor out of that? X, what else? A 3. So I can factor out a 3x, and I can have x, or no, I can have 1 minus x. Is everybody good with how I did it there? I'm just going to go across. How can I factor x squared plus x minus 20? X plus 5 and x minus 4. Next step then is going to be right here. So the bottom left. X squared plus 4x minus 5. So two numbers that multiply together. X plus 5. X minus 1. And then I just have the 3x on the bottom. So before I do anything, okay, before I start getting rid of values, first thing I want to do is figure out, all right, if I'm looking at the bottom, what can x not be in any of those? So I'll just kind of put it over here to the right. What can x not be? -5, +1, and 0. Is everybody good with that? So factor out everything on the top, factor out everything on the bottom, and then figure out what can x not be. Well, it can't be -5, it can't be a +1, and it can't be a 0. Does everybody understand why it can't be 0? Okay? Because of that 3x. Okay? If you have a lone x on the bottom side where it's not getting added or subtracted, your restriction is going to be a 0. So from here, then it just becomes getting rid. What can we get rid of on the top? What can we get rid of on the bottom? What's the easy one? 3x. Gone. Gone. What else can we get rid of? X plus 5. And x plus 5. Now, this one's a little bit tricky. Okay, because there's actually something else that we can get rid of. Okay, I have 1 minus x and I have x minus 1. Now this is where this one gets a little bit tricky. The numbers are the same, but what happens to everything like with the signs in front of them? They're opposite, right? So if I just change the one on top, if I factor out a -1, isn't that going to be a -1 plus x? What's -1 plus x? X minus 1. Okay, so this one's a little bit tricky in the form that because the signs are, everything's the exact opposite. That's the only time that you can factor out a -1 is if everything is the exact opposite. So then I can get rid of another part. So then it just becomes, is there anything else that I can get rid of? Do I have anything left on the bottom side? What's the only thing I'm left with on the top side? A -1 and an x minus 4, right? So I'm just going to write -1 times x minus 4. Where x cannot be -5, 0, and 1.